Good evening, everyone. We're going to give a couple more minutes for other people to, I guess, see if they want to join us. So we'll get started at about 7:10 in about 2 minutes. Thanks, guys. Good evening, everyone who is part of this live stream tonight. My name is Chris Clinton, and we're going to be, I guess, going over some internet safety tips tonight. Um, I guess what I'm going to be starting to do is do these every Tuesday at 7 p.m. for right now. I guess that seems to be a good time for right now until uh, can gauge the participation in these videos. And if anybody wants to, just to let everybody know, if anybody wants um, to watch the videos afterwards, they will be posted up on YouTube under SwagTechChris, my YouTube channel. But I guess I'll put that in the chat for those who are watching. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to actually pull up my OneNote. I like using OneNote. It's pretty cool. So let me take this right here and move it out of the way here. So we're going to put this down here. Make it small. Put it in the corner there. Alright. So this information actually is taken from gcfglobal.org. They also, you can actually get to their website, is www.gcflearn.org. And they have a lot of different topics on here. If you want to go and take a look at technology work, core skills, stuff like Microsoft Office 2016. If you want to learn how to use email, internet, computer basic skills, online safety, which is actually where I'm pulling my information from here, Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. And some of the other topics they have on this website: core skills, you can do math, reading, personal finance, stuff like that, work skills, career planning, job search, applying for jobs. Just a lot of good information they have on this website. Reading and math. If you got somebody who needs to be tutored in reading and math, they got some stuff on there too. So yeah, they have a lot of stuff on here, and it's a free website. You can go here and do some studying on a lot of different ideas. But it's edu.gcfglobal.org. So I'm gonna minimize this, and we'll get started with our lesson here. And we're going over internet safety, internet security, excuse me. And well, without further ado, we're going to get into it. The first point that we're going to talk about is actually adopting a safer mindset when it comes to internet security. There's a lot of people out there now, I know you've seen it, that there's a lot of people out there who are a little bit more naive about internet security. They may be a little reckless about putting their information out there. But if you read this, computers can kind of give a false sense of security. And of course, you're not physically in danger when you're on a computer. But there are a lot of people out there who will take advantage of your information. So to be safe, what you can do is be a little bit more cautious in your mindset. And as this brings out, you can treat the internet like you are at a shopping mall. And most people don't consider the mall to be a dangerous place. It depends on where you live. But you could, shop, meet up with friends, and other things, right? But there are things that you can do to keep yourself safe even when you're at the mall. For example, when you drive there, you wouldn't leave your car unlocked. Or you wouldn't give your credit card number to just some random person walking by you, and tell them to go buy you something. You might never see that person again. So what you can do is apply the same mindset when it comes to being online. You shouldn't be afraid to use the internet, but at the same time, there's some risks that you may face in the real world. And of course, through this training, we'll show you. I'm going to show you how to be prepared for the risk online and putting yourself in danger. So this is series 1, part 1 of a series on internet security. And the first one is actually creating strong passwords. We're going to actually go into creating strong passwords. We went over adapting the mindset. So the first thing you have to do is have a security mindset. Second thing you need to do is have a strong password. So what we're going to do is go into creating strong passwords. So you need to create a password to do just about everything on the web, from checking your email to online banking. And while it's simple to use short, easy to remember passwords, to do your online banking and email, it can pose some serious risks. It can pose some really serious risks to your security. To protect yourself and your information, you want to use passwords that are long, strong, difficult for someone else to guess. So you don't want to use password as a password. But you also want to keep it kind of easy for you to remember. So first question we come to, why do I need a strong password? So the truth is, most websites are secure. There's always a small chance that someone may try to access or steal your information. You've heard of hackers. They may try to steal your information. A strong password is the best way to defend your account from and private information from these hackers. So we got some tips here for creating strong passwords. And so a strong password is one that's easy for you to remember but difficult for others to guess. So here's some tips. First one, never use personal information. So what's your personal information? Stuff like your name, your birthday, your username, or email address. Never use these to try to use as a password, because most of this stuff is normally publicly available, and so all it would take for somebody to get your information would be for them to go to a Google search and pull up your information. And so that will make it so easy for somebody to just come in and just guess the password. They wouldn't even have to use any software. All they would have to do is guess your password, and you know, by just going out there and Googling some of your information and just trying typing it in and see whether that works. Second tip is to use a longer password. So your password should at least be 6 characters long. Although for extra security, you probably want to do it longer. I usually, when I do my passwords, do anywhere from 8 to 10 characters long. That just makes it a little bit easier, even if someone is using some type of hacking software to try and get your password. At the very least, it may take them a while to get your password if you make it longer. Sometimes they may be able to get in, but if you have, the longer your password is, the harder it is to guess, even with software. Don't use the password for the same password for each account. I know it may be easy if you have, 3 different accounts, 3 different email accounts, to use the same password for each one, or your banking, use the same password for your email, your banking account, and maybe your Facebook account or something like that. But you don't want to use the same password for those accounts, because if someone discovers one password, now they can access all your accounts, and so you want to try and avoid that. Try to include numbers, symbols, both uppercase, lowercase, in your password. So numbers, symbols, both uppercase and lowercase in your passwords. So an example would be, let me see, I'm gonna pull up a notepad here so we can type in one. So let's see, edit. Let's see. So we could do summer with a 3. Or right, and then you can also do at b at y. So you have all right, so you have numbers, a number 3, a symbol. You have 2 symbols, uppercase right here, and lowercase here, here, and here. So that's an example of a password, and that would be actually And then of course it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 characters. So it's between 8 and 10 characters. So that would be actually a pretty good password. So there we go. All right. So the next point: avoid words that can be found in a dictionary. For example, swimming 1. That would be so easy for somebody to guess. That would be considered a weak password. So, next point. Random passwords are the strongest. If you have trouble creating one, you can use a password generator instead. And there are a few password generators out there, but a example of a random password would be symbols and letters mixed together. So you'll have JK and 1 2 1 1 symbol there. So that would be considered a random password. And most password generators will probably do something like this. See, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13. So, and of course, a password generator will do this. You would actually have to save this password somewhere. Don't write it down. One of the biggest things, especially if you're at work, one of the biggest security things that I actually used to run into where people would write their passwords down on a sticky note and stick it on their monitor. Well, of course, that's not secure because anybody who walks up to your computer can now know your password. You don't want to save it on the computer. Well, you want to find somewhere to put it to where it's inconspicuous, where people can't get to it. You could put it on the computer, but you would probably want to put it in like a password protected folder, or there are some password managers in Google that you can use that will allow you to save your passwords without encrypt it without people having access to it. So, but yeah, this is a random password here, and this is of course another password. A standard password with just numbers and letters and lowercase and uppercase. So those are two examples of acceptable passwords. So, all right. So now that we've gone through our tips, password security is like the most important thing when it comes to security, because it's the front line of security when it comes to your home computer and your work computer. As soon as somebody gets into your computer using the password, they can do whatever they want to. On the network, they can do whatever on your network. They can get in there and steal your security, your credit card information. They can steal company secrets. So your password is very important, very important. So, all right, let's move on. Because we don't want to be on for too long. All right. So what are some common password mistakes that people make? Some of the most commonly used passwords are based on family names, hobbies, or a simple pattern. So pull up this notepad again. We're going to erase this. So my last name is Clinton. So if I do Clinton 45, that would be a horrible password. That'd be so easy for somebody to guess. Names. Let's see, hobbies. So let's say I like computers. So computer tech 1 2 3. Horrible. especially if anybody knows anything about you. If they know anything about you, they know that you like computers, or you like crochet, or you like to read books or something like that. And then of course 1, 2, 3 is the most guessed, one of the most guessed, number combinations out there. So and if they use a password cracker for each one of these software, then they will definitely be able to break that quickly. So what's the other one? A simple pattern. So simple pattern: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. And it doesn't matter how long it is. If people can guess that. So you don't want to use family name, hobbies, or simple patterns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 7, 8, 9, 0, or A, B, C, D, F, G, you get it. So, all right. So what we want to do now is we're gonna go over a couple of examples of password mistakes. So this guy says, I doubt anyone can guess my password. It's my kids' names and ages. Who else would know that? And the password he uses is Brian 12 Kate 5. So guess what? I guess his son's name is Brian and his daughter's name is Kate. So what's the problem with that? The password uses too much personal information along with common words that can be found in the dictionary, right? So yeah, Brian and Kate can be used in a dictionary. And it's also all somebody would have to do is Google his his information, and his kids' names might be out there, especially if they have social media. So the solution would be a stronger version of this password. We use symbols, uppercase letters, more random order, and rather than using family names, he could combine a character from a movie with a type of food. For example, it uses Chewbacca, of course, with a capital E, capital A, and capital A, and then pizza with a exclamation, or what we used to call a bang, or exclamation, 2 capital Z and a lowercase a. So that's a pretty good example. So let's move on to the next one. So this person says, my password is so simple. It's just the beginning of my street address with a few extra characters. So they use lowercase w, 3, S, T, exclamation, or bang. What's the problem with this one? Only 5 characters in the password, first of all. So you want to be within 6 characters. Like I said, I usually do 8 to 10 characters. Password is too short, and it includes part of her address, which somebody can Google part of her address and guess. Because of course it's publicly available information. So the solution, stronger version of this password would be much longer, ideally more than 10 characters. We could also substitute a nearby street name instead of the current address. For example, Pemberley Ave could be this. I'm not going to read that. But you get it. So, alright, let's move on to the next one. My password follows a simple pattern. It's so easy to remember and type on my keyboard. So what they're using is 1, 2, 3, ABC, C, C, B, A, 3, 2, 1. So What's wrong with this one? What's the problem? Patterns like this are easy to remember. They also come, are some of the first things a hacker might guess when attempting to access your account. Yeah, that's super easy to guess. They can just try that in a combination. Or if they use a password hacker program, it'll guess that like easily. So the solution, remember, random passwords are much stronger than simple ones. You can use a password generator instead. And of course, generated password example is here. Very random numbers and letters, of course. And I know this would be hard to remember. I couldn't remember that offhand. So if you use a password generator, you want to try and create a mnemonic device to make a password. And of course, mnemonic is something that represents what you have. So it uses the example H equals J, capital N, P to pound. You can remember that as Harry equals Jessica North Paris to pound. This may still feel random, but with a little practice, it may be easy to memorize. So, just keep that in mind. You don't want to use simple patterns. All right, let's move on to the next one. I use the same password for all my accounts. This way, I only have to remember one password. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I have been guilty of doing this, but I realized that if somebody got into one account, they can get in all. So I'm slowly changing all of my passwords to something different. So, but this one is capital B or A, capital A, excuse me, capital B, lowercase r, capital A, V E, Z, exclamation 2. So what's the problem with this password? Well, there's nothing really wrong with the password. But remember that you should never use the same password with different accounts. So this is actually a really good password to use. It's just he's using it with multiple accounts, which will make it, if somebody was to find out his password on one account, they have access to everything he owns. Email, credit card, bank statement, stuff like that. So you want to create a unique password for each of your online accounts using password managers instead of writing your passwords on paper where somebody might find them. You can actually use a password manager, which I mentioned earlier, and store them securely online. Password managers can remember your password from different websites, so you don't even have to type them in sometimes if you use like the Google Chrome password manager, LastPass, iPassword. These are some examples of password managers. In fact, the Google Chrome password manager is actually built into Google Chrome, and it actually, when you type in a password, it'll ask you, do you want to save this in Google Chrome? And of course, you can. So, moving on to the next and last example. I use a password generator to create all my passwords, and that's super easy to remember, but that's okay. I also use the password manager to keep track of them. And of course, it's this up here. I'm not going to read that, but this cryptic password up here. And of course, this is a great example of a strong password. Strong, long, difficult for somebody to guess. It's more than 10 characters with both letters, uppercase, and lowercase numbers, symbols, and it includes no obvious personal info. And this one may be a little too complicated to remember without a password manager. So that's why you want to actually use the password manager and create a strong password. So you want to remember these tips. Of course, whenever you create a strong password, and you want to also keep your information online safe and secure. So this is going to end the training portion of the Tech Tuesday. Of course, like I said, all my information was taken from edu.gcf.global.org, and of course, it was under the internet safety, or you can get there by learnfree.org. Let me change that. .org. So, like I said, all kind of great information on there, all kind of great training, and the best part is it's free. So, I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. I know this stuff is not the most entertaining, but it is good training for those who are wanting to learn a little bit more about internet safety, some computer tech tips, stuff like that. Security is important. It keeps you from somebody from going out there and getting your credit card information and spending up all your money, or using your information for fraud or anything like that. So it's very important, and the best thing you can do is create a strong password and make sure that it's not hackable. So I appreciate the participation, and you guys have a great evening, and hopefully you guys can join us next week at 7 p.m. same time for Tech Tuesday. It's going to be every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And I appreciate the participation, and you guys have a great evening. Thanks.